What's good, crew? It's Rubber Captain coming back at you with another video, and today we got a little different video for y'all boys. So a crew member, hit your boy up and was asking about PB Luffy. What PB Luffy version would I take to a tournament? So to answer that question, there's no simple answer because it depends on the meta. So that being said, I would come, if I was going to go to a tournament, I would come to gumgum.gg here, and it would be an injustice to do an OP10, since EB02 is literally like, 8 days away. So it'd be injustice for me to tell you like what would be good for EB010. Sorry, I don't know, I'm always saying EB010. OP10. Be an injustice for me to be like, okay, this is the best deck to take to a tournament, and that's only going based off, OP10 meta. And we're about to be in EB02. So that being said, we can take a sneak peek at the East and what they was playing in EB02 and what the top decks were. So whenever I'm preparing for a big tournament, whether it be Yu-Gi-Oh, One Piece, whatever, I like to look at the top 3 decks in the format and build my deck around that. You know what I'm saying? So that being said, we're here. We're on the gumgum.gg. If you want to check anything out, you can come here and see all the the meta reports and all that. So I go over here. I go under all. I want to see the for the whole EB02, and then flagship plus, and we're gonna look at the top decks. So right away we see green, purple Luffy here. So this is a very powerful deck. It's the most represented in EB02. So first off, when I'm starting my deck, I want to be preparing for this deck in particular, because will be the most played deck in EB02. Just going based off stats. Second, we go to the next deck list here. Dofi's still in the mix, man. Dofi's still, doing his thing. We know what Dofi does. We know, what's good against Dofi, right? Third, we got Marshall D Teach here. So, we know how to play against Teach. We know how to beat Teach. If you haven't seen my How to Beat Teach video, go watch it. I've made a whole video with playing PB Luffy how to beat Teach. Go watch that video, check it out. Let me, get your information from there. Sorry, I'm over fumbling. I just got off work, so I'm trying to get this video out for y'all boys. So, we got green, purple Luffy, right? We got blue Dofi, and we got Teach. So next, we're gonna go over to the sim, and we're gonna tech a deck together to beat these decks. So I'll see you there. Alright, crew, so before we get started about the tech to beat these 3 decks, if you like content like this, you're a PB Luffy lover, man, this is the video for you, man. Make sure you watch to the end to get all the spice. And maybe the full deck list. I might just build the full deck list out right here, right now. Make sure you do that, and then drop a comment and a like for your boy. It helps in the algorithm. And hit that subscribe button if you're not subscribed. We got over 5,000 returning viewers to the channel. If all y'all subscribe, we will be, taking over the game, man. That's no cap. So, that being said, we got our leader here. The first matchup is green, purple Luffy. And let's go over the card that makes or breaks green, purple Luffy here. So they got 2 cards. The main card is Sanji Pudding, right? So this is their bread and butter card that when it hits the field, you want to get rid of it. So that in my head, okay, I know it's a 5 cost card. With stage, it's a 7 cost card, right? They do play stage, they make it a 7, which puts it out of reach for a lot of cards. So that being said, anything that removes 5 costs can help in this matchup, just off top, knowing that, right? The second card they like to play is right here. So their 6 cost Luffy. This is another card they like to go into right here. So if you can remove both of these cards, you can essentially shut this deck down, right? So a 5 cost and a 6 cost, or AK with stage a 7 cost and a 8 cost. So that being said, let's go to, you know, our shit here. Alright. So off the bat, I know one card that removes a 5 cost. Off top, right here. Sanji. So off top, I know Sanji would be a great card to tech against this deck. So therefore, I'm going to put 4 Sanjis in. Right? So how do we remove the 8 cost and as well as, you know, the 7 cost when it's buffed? Well, there's multiple ways you can look at this. So you can either run cost reduction, which will take up more space in your deck, right? Or you can run a body that will help you deal with them. And there's one card that comes to mind off top in my head right away. Will be this 6 cost Brook. Where is it at? Where is it at? Here we go. So, as you know, both the Luffy and the Sanji are 7k bodies. Having this Brook on board, if you swing into, you know, anything, you can don -2, 1 or more, which we usually do 2 for our lead effect. You can choose 2 of your opponent's characters during this turn. They get -2000 power. So this is a tech card that you can include. I'll put one up here just so we can remember. As well as any big rusher that can, you know, come in, swing big. So we got Kato, which, you know, he KOs a 6 or less, so he can KO their rush Luffy. And if they buff the Sanji, you know, it is what it is. If they don't buff the Sanji, you can KO the Sanji. If they buff the Luffy, you can't KO the Luffy, then you can KO the Sanji. You know, they only get to buff one character unless they play multiple stages, right? So that means he's pretty much guaranteed to remove at least one body and be able to swing with rush. He swings 2k over automatically with 3k over if you want to count a stack, but we're looking for something that at least goes 2k over, so it requires 2 cards from hand. So this is a great tech right here, just off the bat, right? Just looking at what he does, he triggers our leader effect. He removes the 6 cost or lower, and he has rush. So you can move potentially 2 bodies from their field with this card right here, which is great. Now, that being said, you know, we got 8 cards right now that guarantee some type of removal against this deck. Because what they like to do is they like to flood the board, and being able to remove their bodies and establishing your own big bodies, you know, is a upgrade, right? All right, so that being said, okay, we got 8 cards that we got tagged against the number 1 deck. Potentially more than that if we go with the Brook. We want to look into our other matchups as well. First off, to see if Brook's worth running, because we don't want it to be good into just one matchup, right? So our next matchup is Dofi, right? Dofi essentially floods the board. The same type of thing, but they're all 4 costs. Right away, our Sanji KOs majority of the stuff that Dofi plays. Kato, same, right? And these 8 cards are good into both matchups. Brook can minus 2k from 2 of their, you know, 2k power from 2 of their characters, which potentially can give you 2 bodies, you know what I'm saying? So you can potentially get 2 bodies with Brook as well. So I think Brook will be in the include. We're gonna include Brook, right? Just based off that, the 2 top decks in the meta, he's good for both. Now, there's a couple cards you can play, but like I said in my previous videos, I like removal that is on bodies, not removal that's, you know what I'm saying, on events necessarily. I like establishing my own body, removing their body. So granted, the Brook is a slower play because it does have to stick on the board. But most of the time, you know, if they invest to deal with it, then they don't have anything to play out. So the green purple can't deal with it at all. So it's safe in the green purple matchup. Dofi can red rock. They can play Jozu. You know, they have ways of dealing with it, but they have to have those cards, right? They can also Gravity Blade, but if they spend Gravity Blade just to get rid of this one card, then you know you're Gucci. All right, now what's our third matchup? Teach. So this card in the Teach matchup is dead. This card in the Teach matchup is dead, right? Unless they don't use leader effect, which most of the time they will at that point in the game. This card, however, in the Teach match is still good. So you still get to do this effect. It's a 6 cost, 7k body, so you're swinging 2 over lead, automatic. Great card. So we're gonna keep this in even just for the Teach matchup. Next, we know we like to ramp with this leader, so you know we have to establish our ramp pieces as well. You know, so let's get our ramp pieces in before we move on. We know Ronozoro is like, you know, made for this leader. The only thing is, it is a brick, so I don't want to run too many of these because that's going to leave room for me to play other tech options. So I'm only going to run 3 of this. I'm actually going to substitute one of my ramp pieces for the Zorojoro. So there we go. We got 4 Zorojoro, 3 Ronozoros, and then also another ramp piece for us is Black Maria. Alright, bet. So we got what, 4, 8, 11. We got 11 ramp pieces right here. That's cool. Next, we want to get our 2Ks in. Usohachi, one of the strongest 2Ks in the game. Good against multiple decks. The top 3 decks as well, still good against them. Resting down their blockers, being able to go in for game, or even, you know, go into their board. Great card. So what else we got here? Let's see. We need we want any more 2Ks. We got 8 2Ks right now. You can play more 2Ks if you want to have more, you know, if you want to be able to hit bigger bodies. So let's say I do want to be able to minus down to make sure I can remove stuff. Can play Suru's. So Suru's an option. She's dead in the Blackbeard matchup. So, you know, there's that. But she is still a 2K in the Blackbeard matchup. We got, this is EB02 as well. We can look at our EB02 cards and see if there's anything we want to add. Oh shit, wrong thing. Alright. EB02, this Rush Luffy right here is a great card for this leader. You get to do his effect for free because you get 2 dime back with your leader effect. This is a great 6 cost 7k rusher. It's good in all 3 matchups. It's good in the Dofi matchup, it's good in the Teach matchup, and it's also good in the green purple Luffy matchup. So automatically I'm going to run 4 of these, right? So let's check our bricks right now, because you want to be at a certain number of bricks no matter, you know, what deck you're running. We're at 4, 8, 12, 15. We're at 15 bricks right now. I don't like to go to too many bricks, right? I usually try to stay around 12 to 16 bricks. That being said, there's a card that's just too good for this leader not to run, right? It wins games, it wins multiple games, right? So right here, we're going to throw in 2 of the 10 cost Luffys. This is a game ender. It's too good not to play it, right? Alright, so let's check our bricks again. We're at 4, 8, 12, 15. Wait, that count right? 4, 8, 12, 15, 16, 17. So we're at 17 bricks right now. This is the most I would like to run. You know, just I don't want to run no more than 17 bricks. Like 17's pushing it, you know what I'm saying? And if we had to, we could go down 1/6 drop Luffy. You know, beggars can't be choosy. You gotta cut the fat somewhere. You can't tech for everything. That's why we're only trying to tech against the top 3. But this card is good into everything. I think 17 bricks would be alright if we're running enough, you know, counter cards on our other cards. So that being said, there's one card we're going to automatically run, you know, multiples of, which is Gum Gum Giant, one of the strongest purple events in the game. If you could run it, why wouldn't you run it, right? All right. So the green purple Luffy matchup, we got pretty much most of the bases covered as far as removal for it. Now we want to think about how do we see our pieces that we need, which you either run searchers or you run cyclers. Well, we know Frankie here is a built-in cycler for this leader specifically. Like, he triggers your leader effect, you do it for free. You get to draw 2 cards. Discard 1, draw 2. So this gets rid of bricks, it cycles your hand, gets you the pieces you need. Now, you got an option to run either searchers or cyclers, or you can run both even. So let's look at the searchers that we have options to. We got Trafalgar Law, right? Look at the top 4 cards of your deck, reveal up to 1/2 cost a greater card with Straw Hat Crew or Heart Pirates. So I like this searcher. My only problem is it searches over 8 of our like best cards in the game, which is Kaido and Gum Gum Giant. Now, if you got a Gum Gum Giant in hand, you know, you're Gucci. You can search for free, right? But you still have a chance of searching over Kaido. I don't like it for that aspect. It's also dead in the Blackbeard matchup. Now, when you're at sea, you fight pirates is a great searcher, but it's a brick. We can't afford any more bricks. So that being said, at this point, I would rather run more cyclers to help me draw cards rather than, you know, play more bricks. So let's take a look at our other cycler options. We got Queen, we got Sabo, and we got, where's she at? Where's she at? She's hiding from me, man. She's hiding from me. I know y'all see it on the screen, but she's hiding from me. I don't know why she's hiding from me. Am I like going blind? Oh, she's right here. She's fucking hiding in the corner. You got Onami. So, benefits. Alright. So, Sabo is a draw 2, trash 2. Right? But he also makes it where your characters can't be KO'd by card effects till the start of your next turn. This is great into nothing out of the top 3, because the simple fact is none of them are KO'ing besides Blackbeard, but most of the time your own play is going to be turned off. Dofi's bottom decking, and then green purple Luffy's not really playing any KO. So, you know, there's that. It's also making you trash 2 cards. Like, yeah, you're getting to draw 2 cards, but you're sending 2 cards to the trash. So it's not really helping your game plan out. Gecko Mori doesn't exist anymore, so therefore, you know, this card is useless in that aspect. Queen is a great blocker. He's a 5 cost 6k. Dom -1, draw 2, trash 1. So this one is a great cycler option right here. And then you got Onami, which is another great cycler option. The only difference between Queen and Onami is Onami requires you to have 8 or more dime, and she's only 2k attack, where Queen is a 5 cost 6k and also a viable attacker. So let's put a scenario in. Okay, they're both good. They're both good into the top 2 decks, right? They're both good into Dofi and green purple Luffy. They both can do their effect. Let's just say it in that aspect. Well, on the other hand, in the Dofi matchup, they have a card called Law. 4 costs Trafalgar Law, which can bounce a 4 cost or less. Granted, if you do have a Don on your leader, Your Nami will be a 5. Your Onami will be a 5, so they will not be able to bounce it. So you know we can get around it in that aspect. They can't bounce Queen at all, right? You don't have to invest a dime to save Queen from Trafalgar Law. In the Blackbeard matchup though, where I'm checking for all three, right? So they're both good in the first two matchups. So now I'm looking at the Blackbeard matchup. Well, things we need in the Blackbeard matchup is relevant attackers. We're not getting our own plays, so if we play a card out, if we play a card for 5 done or 4 done, we want it to be able to attack. So that being said, Queen is a viable attacker. Like if I play a blocker out, it's not to block in the Blackbeard matchup, it's to attack. So therefore, this cuts Onami out. Sabo is a viable attacker, but his effect is not what we're really looking for. So we'll go up queens here. We'll go up to 4 queens here. Now I got a option, or I got a choice to make here. Do I want to play more ramp? Do I want to play more blockers? Or do I want to play cost reduction to help me KO bigger characters? So this is completely up to you. This is like, you know, it's literally completely up to you. I can't tell you what's better to play, you know, in that aspect, because some people like KOing bigger bodies every turn, and some people like, you know, some people just like being able to attack in the board and clear them that way, and just clear what they can with Kaido or clear what they can with Sanji without having to invest any Surus or toy soldiers or anything like that. That being said, we can play more 2Ks or we can play more ramp. What are we ramping to? We're literally only ramping to right now is Kaido and our Gear 5. So we don't need that much ramp to get there, you know what I'm saying? So I don't think we need more ramp. Now, as far as blockers are always good, but I don't like blockers that don't have like a double utility. So it's like if I'm gonna play a blocker, I want it to be doing something else, like Queen's drawing 2, trashing 1. Frankie's drawing 2, discard 1, draw 2, you know? I like that. Now if I'm gonna play any more minus, I would like it to have counter, and preferably to be good into every matchup, but that's, you know, asking for a lot. Now there's a card that you can play that'll help, which is Laboon. That's a tech choice you can play. If you want more minus, you can play Laboon. That's good into the Blackbeard matchup as well. Now if you want, let's see, where we at? Dang, I just went brain dead for a minute. Okay, you got Toy Soldier here, which is activated main, which works in every matchup. It is a 2 cost, you know, it is what it is. Then we got Suru here. So we got these options right here that we can play for more minus if we want more minus. That has counter, you know, that being very specific, has counter. Now, do I need more minus necessarily? No. But if I do play more minus, would I want it to be attacking body? Yes. So Laboon can actually attack. So if I had to choose between these, I would choose Laboon, because you can actually attack with Laboon, you know, in the Blackbeard matchup, and it actually works in the Blackbeard matchup as well. Let's see. So get rid of these and figure out what we want to do with our list to tech against the top 3 decks in the format. To be honest, let's go Straw Hat. Alright. So another card that's great in every matchup. Yes, you don't get the on play effect in Blackbeard, but this does help in the Luffy matchup. It helps in the green purple matchup. And also it's a 7 cost 7k attacker in the Blackbeard matchup, and that is 7 cost Rush Sanji. So he automatically validates his spot just by that. You know what I'm saying? And now we only have room for one more card, which can be anything of your choosing. And just to fill in the spot with another viable attacker that has a great effect in every matchup, we can go ahead and throw one of the 6 cost secret Luffys, the Black Luffy, which says when attacking you may place 3 cards from your trash to the bottom of your deck in any order. Then if your opponent has 5 or more cards in their hand, your opponent trashes 1 card from their hand. Ooh. Now, if you go the more KO route and you want to be able to KO like 10 cost beards, you have to play more bricks, and you have to play, you know, different cards. Like instead of the 9-drop Rush Kaido, you would be playing the Black Kaido. And if Blackbeard somehow takes over the format, which they're probably not, because Green Purple Luffy is just out aggroing them, probably be gate kept a little bit by that. And then Luffy as well, being able to flood the board with his leader effect. But if Blackbeard magically took over, then you can easily swap the 9-drop Rush Kaidos for the Black Kaidos, and that is good into every matchup. And then you could also play more cost reduction, you know, in that aspect. That being said, I think this list right here is probably the most competitive list. The most competitive PB Luffy list right now that's coming up in this EB02 meta. It counters the top 3 decks in the meta, just going based off the E stats. Now, as we get into the meta for the West and we see what people are playing in the West, then we'll be able to go from there on how we move stuff around on our list. But this list right here, I think, is a good solid foundation to start with. It's a good solid foundation to start with right here. Now, if you wanted more 2Ks, there's a couple things you could do. You could drop the queen down to 3. You don't have to play that many cyclers, because usually you see your pieces. You do have Gum Gum Giant, which is also cycling you as well. And then you could also, even drop one of the Rush Luffys down. And you could easily go in here with any 2K counter that you like. I mean, if you wanted more ramp potential, you could do Miss Double Fingers. If you wanted another 2K counter that's good in the Blackbeard matchup, is Frenosuke. He's a rusher. If you have 8 or more Don times 1, he gains rush. So you got those options, right? We're gonna keep it as is for now. And we will do some EB02 testing of this list for y'all boys, and that'll probably be the next video. I don't want to do any gameplay in this video. I want to just be straight information only. Now we're going to save this, and then we're going to go back to gumgun.gg, and we're going to take a look at some PB Luffy lists there, if there is any, and see what they was playing to counter the meta, and then see how our list compares to that. I'll see you there, crew. Alright, crew, so we found a flagship tournament winner. He went 4-0. He went 4-0 with this PB Luffy list. Let's take a look at the list. Alright, so he's playing a completely different list. Gecko Mori was still in the format, so he's running the Sabos and all that. So we can't really look at this list for advice, because they did have Gecko Moria in that format. So, unfortunately, this list is not viable. Let's see if we can find another list without Gecko. Let's see. Can't be the only list at top, right? Nobody putting on for my boy. So this is just a standard story battle tournament. Let's see what he's playing. Yeah, they're playing Gecko, so we can't really check. Let's try to look in the OP11. See if we can find a list there without Gecko. Okay, here's a flagship tournament winner right here. This is the OP11 meta, so you know, take that as you will. Alright, so if you look, this guy is running a very similar build to what we crafted. He's got the Rush Luffys, he's got the Sanjis, he's got the Kados, he's got the 10 drop, he's got the Gum Gum Giants, he's got the Frankies. He chose more of a searcher route. As you can tell, he's playing 4 laws, and he's also chose more of a cost reduction route. He's playing the 4 one-legged soldiers. As I told you in my, before I even looked at this list, I told you you have options to do that. If you want more cost-based removal, I gave you Toy Soldier. And he's actually playing 2 Luffy Taros, which is kind of crazy. I don't know why. Like, he literally can only cheat out the Frankie or the Ronazoro. I mean, I guess Luffy Taro and the Zoro's not terrible, but it's like, is it really worth it? And he is opting to play the Gum Gum Lightning, which is another tech card that you can use. But if you do use this, you have to cut down on some of your KO removal by your bodies. So like your Kados or even your Sanjis, which you see he had to cut down to 3 Sanjis and 2 Kados to fit these cards in, which I don't think is very efficient. Let's see if we can find another one. Oh shit, let me go ahead and go back to my little. We can find another list. Alright, this is he only played 8 players, but you know, he still got first place, so respect for that. As you can tell, he is still running a similar package to what our main core that we wanted. He's got the Sanjis, he's got the Frankie, he's actually electing to play Bon Clay, which you know you can play, but if I had to choose a 4-cost ramp, I would definitely use Brûlée, just to protect out of them early game hits. He is running the Luffys, he is running Sanji, he's actually running the Rush Luffy, which is another tech, but he's running no Kados, and that I don't understand, because you're running Surus and one-legged soldiers, and your only KO, your only body KO is Sanji, so it's like, I mean, yeah, you're running a shit ton of 2Ks, but at the same time, are you benefiting from their effects any, besides if you draw Sanji? I mean, I guess it could be used with the Rush Sanji as well to lower something down, but then like if you lower down a 10k attacker and you rest it with Sanji, you're not gonna kill it. I mean, let's be realistic here. He is opting for the Gum Gum Lightnings, and I do think if you're gonna run Gum Gum Lightnings, you probably would cut one Kado, one Sanji, and at least with Gum Gum Lightning and your Brook, you can hit a way bigger body. You know what I'm saying? Because Gum Gum Lightning hits a 6k body, right? Well, Brook lowers 2 bodies by 2k, so you can hit a 8k body with Brook. I mean, with Brook and Gum Gum Lightning. You know, so it's like, I'd rather do that if I was gonna run Gum Gum Lightning. But nobody's running the Brooks, man. I don't know why. It's a good card. It also helps in the Wall Kid matchup. You know, dropping Kid down to 6k. Now you can swing into it with everything. Let's look at another list, crew. Alright, crew, we got a flagship winner here. Check out this list. Okay. Yep, he's running a very similar list. Everybody's running this Gum Gum Lightning, man. They they loving the Gum Gum Lightning, but nobody's running Brooks, which is kind of crazy. Kind of crazy. Running Gum Gum Lightning and Brooks. He's actually running the 4 blocker Sanjis. Gets extra 2K counters. No searcher, which I like. I like this build right here. This is another option. He's running 4 Sarus. He elected for more cost reduction. That's nice. That's nice. And he's actually running a shit ton of 2K counters, as you can tell. Yeah, this list is pretty solid right here. He's only running 3 Kados, of course, because he is running the Gum Gum Lightnings. How many bricks does this guy got? Let's see, 4, 7, 11, 14, 15, 16. He's only running 16 bricks, so that's a good number of bricks. So this is another option you can run right here. These are people who's won tournaments, so we're getting our feedback from people who's actually took this deck, and this is OP11 meta. So if they're doing this in OP11, then you should be fine in EB02. I mean, they're having to deal with UP Luffy and all this other shit. So maybe that's why they're running this, just because of UP Luffy. But I don't like Gum Gum Lightning over Kaido. I mean, that's just me personally. But if I was gonna run it, then I definitely would have Brook in here as well. But to each their own. But yeah, this is a great list as well right here. So I'll see you back at the deck list. Give me a second. Alright, crew. So I'm gonna copy this deck list right here, and we're gonna post it in the video. It'll be in the description down below. Go test it out. Move around what you want to move around. Like I said, if you want more 2Ks, you can take out some queens. You can even cut the queen if you don't care about having that much cycle, and run more 2Ks. As you can tell, some of the other people are running more 2Ks, which is fine. You know what I'm saying? I usually don't have a problem running 8 2Ks, but I have had success running more 2Ks than not. You know what I'm saying? But if you wanted to keep like the queens at a decent number and the brooks at a decent number, you could go down to 3-3. Fit in more 2Ks, do whatever. But at the end of the day, it's up to your preference, and what you're going to be going against. And these cards are good against all of that. So, like I said, the next video I make, I will be testing this list out for y'all and showing you how I go about testing. We'll be testing against the top 3 decks in the EB02 meta, and that's how I like to go about before I go into a tournament. So if you like the video and you like content like this, make sure you hit that like and that subscribe button, man. And dang, I had something else to say. What was I about to say? Damn, it slipped my mind. It slipped my mind. Oh yeah. The membership's alive, man, so you can become a member now. That's the best way to support the channel. But just watching, dropping a like, and commenting is also support for us, and we appreciate everybody that's been doing that. Hey, I appreciate all of the support. Hey, if you become a member, you get access to these lives I'm doing, man. If you ain't been catching the last few lives, we've been having a great time. I left the last 3 lives open for y'all, so you can kind of get a sneak peek of what the live content's looking like. So go check that out if you haven't checked those out. We do some crazy things on live, man. We cook up some off the wall lists. I even take requests sometimes, just for random shit, like off the wall shit you wouldn't think, and we actually go and get a dub with it. You know what I'm saying? So hey, man, we growing, man. We growing. Appreciate it, crew. But I'll catch y'all boys in the next one, man. Peace.